GEEK Files, 2026, February 10th, Burnaby. So, R&D Aviation, Summer 86. Both Pukatawagan and South Indian Lake were large enough reserves that they had nurses station, federal government sponsored nurses station for looking after day-to-day stuff, day-to-day ailments. If you needed hospitalization or better medical treatment, the nurses at these stations would give you a chit to fly into either Leaf Rapids or Lynn Lake on the government dime, return trip. So that meant an airplane had to fly from Leaf to Pukatawagan, pick you up, fly you back to Leaf, and when you're ready to go home, they flew you from Leaf to Pukatawagan and then back, all on your tax dollars, your federal tax dollars. Now, both Pukatawagan and South Indian Lake were dry reserves. So if you wanted to party, you had to get to Leaf Rapids or Lynn Lake. And if you were clever enough, you could convince the nurse there that you were sick enough to go to Leaf Rapids or Lynn Lake, and the Canadian federal government would then supply you transportation to come to town to get drunk. We had this old native guy that would show up in the dock, from South Indian Lake, who had this dialed. So he would show up in the morning. He would convince Donna or Renee that he needed to work for them for half a day. He would make half a day's wages, get paid in cash, and bugger off and get drunk, show up the next morning, would fly back home. So all the aircraft are out, flying, doing something. There's a shack there with the radio, so I got that on, listening for them to come back. And so I've got the fishing rod out, and I'm fishing the dock for where all the pike are hanging out. The pike that I catch every other day because there's these breaks. I'm sitting there fishing off the dock, and all of a sudden, 2 RCMP cars roll up. What the hell's going on here? And they get out, and I look at them and say, "Yeah, officers?" And they said, "Yeah, we got notice of a hijacking." Like, a boat? No, we've got one of your aircraft is being hijacked. And I'm going like, well, we've got like an otter, a beaver, a found, and a 185, like all on floats. Like, where are you going to hijack these things to? Like, because you need water to land on. You're not going to take, like, what? So the 185 lands, and it's being run by this kid from Vancouver. And out gets this old native guy who keeps coming to town. And I look at him and going, "You hijacked the airplane?" "Yeah, I hijacked it." "Well, what were you doing?" "Oh, working on the dock." I said, "But you could just go up to the nurses' station and get a chit and come for free." "Oh, too far to walk." I said, "But they're going to throw you in jail for this." He says, "Oh, that's okay. Winter's coming. I'll get 3 squares and a good place to sleep for the winter." And he was serious. What had happened is the kid from Vancouver showed up at the dock. This old guy's working on the dock, didn't want to walk up to the nurse's station to convince them to send him to Leaf to the hospital. So he picked up a hammer and walked over to this kid and said, "Take me to Leaf or I'm going to hit you." And the kid buckled. And then when he's on airplane, there's a special frequency code you can get if you're being hijacked. And the kid freaked and figured he was actually being hijacked. And instead of telling this guy to "Oh, go pound sand, would you?" He called it in as being hijacked. And the cops showed up and arrested this old guy and marched him off. Oh, yeah, it was just like, wow, just wild. making appropriate life decisions. You don't make any money, but you get good stories.